Hey everyone, Talking Dave over here, dorky talking black guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of The Lowdown. Here, I give a quick review of a new or recent movie that has just come out, and today I'm going to give you all the lowdown on Ready Player One. So, it is 2045, and the world is on the brink of imploding on itself due to natural causes and economic constraints. However, the citizens of the world have not further degraded into chaos thanks to a virtual reality computer system known as the Oasis, which is everyone's frequent getaway. The Oasis was created by a developer who died 5 years prior. Before he died, he actually left a giant Easter egg within the Oasis, and whoever actually gets 3 keys and is able to try to get to the Easter egg, one person that is interested in the Oasis and stumbles upon a clue is known as Wade Watts, aka Z, aka another name that I can't pronounce. However, he stumbles onto the first key, and a rival corporation who wants the Easter egg is actually gunning for Z in order to try to obtain the Easter egg from their own selfish means. Okay, everyone, so this one is not scripted, and I saw Ready Player One 2 days ago. I needed to let it marinate because when I saw the movie, I was like nuts about it. I was completely nuts. I was like, wait a minute, I'm a little too hyped about this. Let me sit down and marinate some of it. So after sitting back and reflection, I still have a highly favorable view of this movie. However, there are a lot of problems that people are probably not addressing. First, let's start off with the obvious. If you were a kid in the 80s and the 90s, notice I had to say 80s and 90s. There are a ton of references that you're going to see and that you're going to really go crazy over, especially if you were considered a geek or a nerd at that time period, because you gotta keep in mind that now geek or nerd culture is mainstreamed, so pretty much people won't have some of the same connections or affection for like a lot of the references as they're mentioned in the movie. And boy, there are a ton of pop culture references from the 80s and 90s in this movie. Hell, there's this one thing called a Zemeckis cube, which people won't know what it does until you actually see it in action, and it's like, oh wait, there's Zemeckis cube, huh? I see what you're doing right there, and yes, I saw the direction that thing went in. So especially if you're a fanboy or fangirl now, you'll still geek out on it, but you won't have the affection for the pop culture references as someone that grew up in that time period did. Heck, I actually think that this movie is something that I would have thought about, or I frequently thought about as a kid. The characters in this movie are pretty generic, and it's the normal run of the mill type of thing. Like the lead character, Wade Watts, also known as Z, and I keep forgetting how to pronounce his longer name. He's like your basic down and out person that's like in a tough spot. And he inadvertently he meets up with a best friend. He has a best friend and his own crew, and this mysterious girl that attracts him and enthralls him shows up, and they have a bit of a meet cute, which is very interesting because basically in the Oasis everyone chooses their own avatar, and they brought up a good point in that basically the lead character is in love with the lead female, but the lead female brings out that you just love the impression of me. You don't love me because you've never seen me, or you don't even know the real me. And that's actually pretty relevant in this day and age. While you might have a vision or an impression of someone, you don't really know that person. So it's not that they put that in, but there are other social tropes that are in this movie that they're a little nuanced and they can be interesting, but they don't go into further depth. They just scratch the surface. this is very much like, a movie that you definitely would see in basically the time period that I keep mentioning, because there's a lot of energy, imagination, and wonder, and, a real great time, and I really feel that this particular movie, like, in the hands of someone like, oh my god, I can't, oh, I only feel like two directors could have pulled this movie off, and that's Josh Whedon and Steven Spielberg. I mean, you could definitely tell this is a Steven Spielberg movie because it has that same energy, charm, bewilderment, imagination, that Spielberg puts in all of his directions, but it's also a bit of a run of the mill, powerful, greedy corporation guy wants the power for their own, own personal means, not worrying about, basically the importance of, the creation itself, a true believer striving for this, and his belief is actually making him push further, and he's a bit of an underdog too, and a bunch of colorful characters that are really awesome, but it's still pretty flawed. It's still a pretty flawed movie. But I gotta say, the reason why I saw this was because I heard Mechagodzilla appeared, and he did, and the Akira Ifukube theme and Mechagodzilla in it were awesome. There are so many awesome fan references that basically it will make your head spin and everything and all. And the soundtrack, a compilation of a bunch of tunes from the 80s is just pretty amazeballs. So, as great as this movie is, I can't give it the amazeballs rating because, I really feel that this is a movie that could have, basically been horrible if Steven Spielberg or Josh Whedon didn't do it. And if you look beyond the spectacle and, your fanboyisms, it's a pretty run-of-the-mill type of movie, but it is executed very well. So, all in all, Ready Player One is actually slamming. Agree? Disagree? Please, drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, or on Twitter at TokenDaveAT, subscribe, ring that bell so you know when a new video loads, and spread this video out. But until then, this has been Token Dave, a dorky token block guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch all of you later.